So then lads, back with another video. Something terrible happened to me today. I played CoD Vanguard. Okay, so I think I should give you more context behind this for people who haven't been afflicted by this disaster yet. Let me tell you a bedtime story called What Little Information About CoD's Past a guy who's been a fan for a few months has learned from Actman videos. So basically, let's start talking about the Call of Duty family. So you have Daddy Activision and Mommy Blizzard with their three kids, Infinity Ward, Treyarch, and Sledgehammer. Infinity Ward, being the oldest, is a sculptor. He tries really daring projects that tend to work out well most of the time and really push the boundaries for the brothers' sculpting business. Make really adventurous projects like Modern Warfare that are going to do great things. Sometimes he might drop his sculptures flat on his face and get ghosts. Then you have Treyarch, the middle brother. Treyarch, you know, he took the idea of being a sculptor from Infinity Ward. Unlike Infinity Ward, he tries to play things a little more safe with a recognizable formula. If you're not trying things as daring as him, but he's the good relatable, memorable structure of games like Black Ops, sometimes also dropping his sculptures on his face and getting Black Ops 4. Then you have Sledgehammer Games, the youngest one, who, instead of dropping his sculptures, were dropped on his head multiple times as a baby, spends most of his days in the basement, and occasionally puts together piles of trash as his attempts at sculpture, usually trying to copy Treyarch and Infinity Ward. Now, Daddy Activision realized that he could sell these to idiots to pose as modern art, when it's not, and retailers will just buy it anyway. The only hope now is Microsoft, the hot rich chick who moved in next door, who already banged Daddy Activision, and will probably convince him to put up Sledgehammer for adoption so he can be another family's problem. Recently, the pile of trash sculpture that Sledgehammer produced was CoD Vanguard, putting it in the library with Infinite Warfare and World War II of interesting contributions to the CoD franchise. Basically, Activision did a haha funny April Fool's Day joke of making it free temporarily so people would actually be tricked into playing the game. I saw it and decided, you know what, I'll give it a go so I can have more informed opinions on hating on it than just assuming it was bad by seeing the community feedback. So now I can safely conclude that I myself also find it to be a god-awful game. Now, let's talk about the overall tone and style of the game. Okay, so here's the thing. They got this World War II and used that for a general aesthetic, and they got the main theme they decided to use Twitter, because that's what it is. So, you know how in World War II, you had the Allies and the Axis, we had teams like Britain, America, Russia, and China going up against Germany, Italy, Japan, and Yugoslavia. Yeah, that's not happening this time. So they're actually using the lesser known battles of World War II, in which the factions were my team and enemy team. So yeah, in case you didn't catch on, those battles did not really happen in World War II. So instead of having, actual playable soldiers, you have operators. Operators are just been a terrible curse on COD in general. Can I just take a moment to really suck off Modern Warfare Remasters to the character customization system? Because in that one, they decided to make it real soldiers in a war, because your character and uniform would change based off of what team and primary weapon you had. It was actual teams. You had the Insurgency, Spetsnaz, SAS, Marines. You could choose different soldiers, which would change appearance slightly, but they wouldn't have their own unique voice lines or backstory. They just have their name, their face, that's it. You could choose camo patterns, which would affect the clothes now. But then, sometime they decided that operators should be a thing, and that just ruined everything. They're bad enough in Modern Warfare, where, the factions are really unclear. You have the typical good guys with, the SAS, but then Warcom and Demon Dogs, who are not a real faction, by the way. Then the typical bad guys, you have Spetsnaz, real faction, but then bullshit like Chimera, Shadow Company, and Jackals. Oh, and for some reason, Nikolai and Farah are on the opposing team to Price Guys and Alex. I heard it got kind of worse in Cold War, but they kept the integrity of having two different teams. This time they just threw in a bunch of politically correct clowns and left it at that. So look at some of the whatever we have in this game. Let's start. There's Pridmati, however you pronounce it, who was part of the Indian Army fighting British colonial rule, who was, funnily enough, in the start of the war where part of the war takes place, that part of the Indian Army was allied with Hitler, so I guess we did get some Axis in this game, even if the devs were just too fucking stupid to realise. You have, what's the name in it? It's the one with the weird hair who looks like Osa from Siege. Was it Beatrice? I'm not sure. Basically, member of the German resistance who is gay. What they don't know is that at the time, just because they were fighting the Nazis doesn't mean they conform to modern ideologies. If he was openly gay, then, probably her peers would have beaten her, killed her. Because, just because they were fighting the fascists doesn't mean they're going to conform to Twitter ideologies that were racist on our side in the past as well. Speaking of which, you have Arthur, the protagonist from the campaign. So he's this from a noble family from Cameroon. In case you didn't notice, Cameroon was under colonial rule. He got education in Oxford. Like, World War II was a pretty racist time, even on the Allies' side. Like, a black family would not have been noble. I actually thought he was, like, the British operator. Turns out there isn't a single British operator in this game, no matter what contributions we actually made to the war. Like, I feel sorry for the Chinese, the Finns, the Canadians, but it's kind of become a staple that they don't get included in World War II games at this point. Like, if we're the announcer for both my team and enemy team, we should at least get one operator. Ooh, who else do we have? Daniel, that's the guy I chose to play as, just because I got a skin for it. It wasn't a good skin, it just fit with the overall shitty aesthetic of the game. So he was a Japanese American, his parents sent to a camp and fucking burnt. Like, I don't get how when Sledgehammer heard camps, they instantly thought of concentration camps. Yeah, Americans did have camps for Japanese, German, and Italian immigrants. They weren't fucking systematically eradicating them. They were holding there on the suspicion of uprising and treason. His family aren't going to get burnt and him getting enlisted to reluctantly fight in the war. The characters from the campaign are in this game. Like, I already mentioned Arthur, who's like Kyle from Modern Warfare, but just lacks any character development and is just a posh twat. As I mentioned, you have Polina, who is like the typical sniper character, and if existed in real life, would probably spend the entire length of the campaign massacring German civilians. I'd love to see her get in a sniper battle with the White Death, just knowing that she'd definitely lose. I think you have Lucas, whose entire personality can be summed up in one word: Australian. You have Wade, who is supposed to represent Americans, and does that pretty well by being an absolute wanker. Although, I do like him because he's a wanker to the rest of the characters. So yeah, I've not actually played the campaign, I wouldn't put myself through that. I just one day watched a video of all the cutscenes together and instantly regretted it, because it turns out the campaign was just 90% cutscenes anyway. Like, if you thought Battlefield 5 didn't have a serious tone, just look at this game. So yeah, with no Axis, and being mostly made up of not even soldiers, just resistant fighters and defectors from the Axis armies that I just took in, regardless of any concerns about their past. They just close with each other, running around shooting at each other. We only get to see actual Nazis at the end, during the takedown animations. And then it's always German Nazis, regardless of whether you're playing on a map set near, I don't know, Japan or Italy. See, that's really all I have to say about the tone of this game. Okay, let's talk about gameplay now. Gameplay was slightly better than tone, but being slightly better doesn't really mean good when it comes to Vanguard. So I don't even know where to start. So, you know how in most games, like, you're supposed to work and progress to get good. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the fact that this game was just a total reskin of Modern Warfare, but I just completely destroyed the first lobby I was in. I'm not even good at Modern Warfare at all. Like, it's just too fucking easy. That's all. Like, I want to have a challenge, okay? I want to be mentally challenged. I mean, I am mentally challenged, but for this instance, I keep getting paired up with people who are more mentally challenged than I am. Like, the lobbies, they're just so fucking easy. Like, I've had, like, Modern Warfare for months now. I only got MVP, like, twice. Player of the game, sorry. And I already got it in the second game that I played in. I know said there was a challenge to kill 50 people with the operator I had. And I think, okay, this is going to be hard. And I'm definitely not going to try and complete it, given that I'll probably score about 10 kills an hour of Modern Warfare. After my third match, I looked and see that I was only 1 kill off completing it, which meant 49 kills. Yeah, it's just way too easy in this game, like, to the point where I will start hip firing and using the pistol on purpose just to have a challenge. Like, it did feel awfully good at first, but that was just for a player who's normally bad at the game, feeling good by being put against bad people. And also, since the progression for some reason carries across the games, they shouldn't have put me in the lobbies with such bad players. It generally feels like the game's so dumbed down. Like, after literally one match looking into the weapon customization system, it already had like 3 unlocks for every single category, and the gun I use, when normally I usually have to grind out just to get a single scope or muzzle on a weapon that I haven't saved up for long enough. And then I have to like drag the fucking mouse over it multiple times to make the indicator go away. And here's the thing, I didn't even bother to edit or upgrade the weapons class in any way, really. I just kind of use everything default because I just couldn't be asked to change anything, even the kill streaks. Like, first 3 games, you have the basic fucking stuff that would be in this game. Like the SGT or the MP40 or some LMG. Not the Lewis gun, by the way, because they want to defile evidence that Brits were ever in World War II. So yeah, I just kind of destroyed lobbies with that. Then when I got to the 4th time as I was going through loadouts, because I played like 4 matches of this game to see background footage, by the way. Like, the footage you're seeing was literally my first time playing this. I got to the sniper. I just can't snipe in any games at all, right? I thought that this would be it, right? I'd finally have a challenge this time. I mean, if people are using guns they're shit at to actually have fun in your game, you fucked up. But nope. Sniper was easy. I was getting no scopes, more kills than I'd ever done using the sniper in Modern Warfare. I mean, yeah, the gunplay, the difficulty is kind of fucked, really. The map design, I keep hearing people say that Modern Warfare is the campiest CoD. It's not. I haven't encountered a single camper. But the map design is so enclosed. Like, in Modern Warfare, there was at least some open space so people could get shot at easily. So there'd be certain spots for campers so you'd know where to look out. In this game, no matter where you are, you're basically just surrounded from all sides. There's only a select number of lanes you can go down, and there's always a bunch of twats just camped at the back, always just drilling into people. The spawns are just fucked, really. Most of the times I died was because that I got killed before my character model had even loaded in. I would say that they tried to innovate by adding Levolution, but they really didn't. They just wanted it to be in the trailer so people could think they put effort into it. What it really does is that some of the bangable surfaces will now start to fall away when you shoot at them. Same goes for doors. So, if you're one of the people who have a seizure every time they see a door, that will work for you because they start disintegrating. I guess they added blind fire, but no one really does that anyway. It should really be obvious that G to throw grenade, E to melee, but no, they decided that it should be G to emote, E to throw grenade, and V to melee. Do they not realize the fact that grenade begins with G and emote begins with E, so that should be obvious enough? Like, the amount of times I've been tried to melee someone to death, only to accidentally throw a grenade right at their head, or see someone try to throw a grenade at them and only just stick my hand out at them. They actually use V for the melee button, which, like Siege, but it works better in Siege because when the V button is further to reach from the WASD, it actually adds to the slow-paced tactical gameplay of Siege. This is fucking COD. It shouldn't be that slow. The flags can capture the flag. You basically have to be standing directly on top of the flag for it to even register. If you go the slightest bit away from it, it stops. Some of the map layouts, it just doesn't look like World War II at all. Sometimes you see small things like desktop fans or canvases that just look way too modern. I feel they might have probably taken assets from Modern Warfare and Cold War because they're lazy. I also don't like how this game has basically infested all of COD. Like, in Warzone, in Modern Warfare, the levels, they all add up to one thing. Every time I get through the Battle Pass, it's for Vanguard. Like, when I progress in a game, I want to actually unlock something that's for that game. Just Activision's fucking tactics of making me want to buy a game. That's shit. Just, like, get the unlocks that are actually for it. Like, come on. They're acting like the fruit or games are just one. Like, every time you go into the menu, it'll always say Vanguard, Warzone, Cold War, Modern Warfare. Like, they're not. They're separate games. And stop trying to make me pay for more shit. Actually, no, asking Activision to stop making me pay for more shit is like asking a mosquito to not suck your blood, or asking a cat not to yowl at night, or asking the fucking earth to stop rotating. Overall, the gameplay is just a reskin of Cold War, just a reskin of Modern Warfare, I guess. I mean, I've never played Cold War, but I can see the parallels between it and Modern Warfare. They just made it worse. That's all I have to say. Okay, so mentioning Modern Warfare so much, I should probably do a comparison. The past 3 COD games have just been the same thing. Modern Warfare was pretty controversial when it came out, I guess. You'll keep seeing these online arguments between actually smart people who understand that there needs to be change in the game and Black Ops fanboys who have a seizure every time they see a door, as I mentioned previously. I don't think Modern Warfare is an absolute masterpiece of the game. It has its flaws, but it's just a perfect antidote to playing Vanguard. Let's talk about how it compares to it. First of all, you actually have 2 distinct sides other than my team and their team. Yeah, I mentioned that the sub-factions are kind of fucked, but like, at least you know there's an actual war going on here. You can kind of get the gist. There's one team you have like British Special Forces, American Special Forces, like a NATO army. The other team it's Russian Special Forces, militia group, mercenaries, Russian agency group. I don't even know what fuck Sharia is supposed to be, but yeah, they actually made an effort in putting different teams into this game. Map design, I mean, well, the designs of the map terms of art, Vanguard may actually be better. The layout for Modern Warfare is just so much better. Like, see what you want about the maps. Like the fact that it's not 3 lanes. And the thing is, Modern Warfare, like, the characters actually feel like they're in the world and not of the world. Like, I guess for making Vanguard, they wanted to be politically correct with the character models by making them as fat as possible. Like, no, it's like standing next to a tank, just tower over it. Like, there've been so many times when I've seen an enemy in my direct line of fire, and I'm trying to shoot at it, but my enemy's fat ass, my teammate's fat ass walks right in front of me and just blocks all the bullets so they kill us both. Like, I don't get why the play models just seem to be so much big in Vanguard, but they actually feel more like soldiers in a war in Modern Warfare. And yeah, I get that you can't destroy doors in Modern Warfare, but that's probably the only thing Vanguard has on it. But there's another game that I should compare it to, really. Look, anyone watch any of my videos, I know that I'd be getting some comments saying, oh, but why do you like this game and you like Battlefield 5, but that's just the same. And I'm like, yeah, it is also an overly politically correct attempt at a World War II game that uses the V as a symbol from a long-standing FPS franchise. But here's the thing, Battlefield 5 actually balances out all the politically correctness and lack of respect for World War II with good gameplay and stuff that actually innovates rather than just saying it can for the trailer. You know, they added building, which is an actual function that works in multiplayer, and it's just a thing that's there that you barely notice. They didn't need to add Levolution because that's already been a thing which COD just copies more of year after year. And if you have a dedicated lobby of history nerds like me, you can actually have characters that look historically accurate, and other than the elites. You don't really have characters with their own backstory and their quote-unquote quirks. Thankfully, they didn't drag any of the campaign characters into multiplayer, because they knew no one would care about the campaign, I guess. You actually have two sides for once. The weapon progression is actually right. You don't just unlock everything immediately. When you're new, you actually have to learn about the game and how to progress instead of just having everything handed to you. Really, there's no way of comparing the two. I understand that Battlefield 5 will get its hate because of the marketing, but for the veteran players who keep hating on it, the cyber woman from the reveal trailer isn't actually in the game. She can't hurt you. Calm down. It'll just always be better, because at the end of the day, the core functions actually support everything around the game. It doesn't have some of the shit things Vanguard has, like way too fast progression, fucked up lobby, terrible map layout, and really big character models. I'm being really critical of this game. I should talk about things it did right. First of all, let's just say the map aesthetics, okay? One of my things I hate the most about Modern Warfare is just the fact that almost every map in the game takes place in either not Syria or not Kosovo, with your occasional attempt at what Russia or Britain would look like, really stereotypically, but most of the maps are saying a collection of abandoned buildings anyway. Vanguard, they tried to make the maps actually look different, given that it's World War II and you have things from all around the war, from the Western Front to the Pacific to the Eastern Front. But sometimes they can look a bit shit. Like, the first one I played on was, what's it called, Cover Up. It looked like it was just set in the farm. Then I realised that the writing was in English. It was a farm set in Britain when there was no fighting on British soil in World War II, apart from like the invasion of the Isle of Man. And it was actually fake farmhouses to cover up this reactor, which just looks too steampunk. Like, this game's supposed to be alternate history. Okay, I should go back to actually talking about good things about this game. I guess the weapons feel kind of satisfying to use, I guess. Kills feel kind of nice when you actually notice them, because sometimes you just can't see who you're killing, and the doors can be destroyed, which is good. Yes, they added an option to vote for people who you like the most at the end. I thought that was a good input to the game. I obviously would only vote for myself or other people using the Daniels character, because I'm biased. Apart from the one time that no Daniels got into the top 3, so I just voted for the one Pragmati because she's actually Axis, so I thought that would be funny. So yeah, that's all the few things that this game got right. I guess you could say the UI, but that was mediocre, I guess. I mean, the one thing it has on Modern Warfare, other than the map art, is just how much it won't crash. Like, if I tried to close Modern Warfare, it would just fucking spaz out, take like 5 minutes to close. If I use Task Manager, it would just freeze up the entire computer. Vanguard freezes it slightly less, which is an improvement, maybe? So yeah, that was it, really. This video did not go as planned. I planned to put in way more effort into this, ended up not doing that. Also, I kind of just spazzed out half the time. I didn't say anything I was intended to, so sorry if it seemed even more shit than normal. Maybe this game will be saved with updates, but like I said, actually no, I didn't say this before, but when I gave it away for free for April Fools, it was only a small trial, so I don't really want to pre-purchase it, and even if it does turn out to be good, at the end of the day, I only have room for 2 V icons on my desktop, and GTA 5 and Battlefield 5 aren't going anywhere. Okay, that was a lie. I just have 2-minute games to play right now. So yeah, if you liked it, consider subscribing, watch some of my other videos. Like if you want. I don't give a shit about likes. So then lads, that's the end.